Every night at midnight, when the generators to power the electrical grid were shut off, instead of seeing it as an issue, the locals calmly lit candlelights and the torches on their phones underneath half-full glasses of tea, filling the room with warm light as it played music into the night. It's crazy to think only 2 weeks ago, I'd never even thought about traveling to Iraq, let alone ski there. But here I was, sleeping on the floor of a local family in a mountain village northeast in Iraqi Kurdistan, with my best friend Christopher right next to me. Both of us completely blown away by the friendliness and hospitality of the locals, in a country both of us until recently merely thought of as a dangerous war-torn wasteland. Apart from a few immigrant friends growing up back home in Norway, with houses that always smelled of amazing food, I didn't really know much about Middle Eastern culture until now. I expected the food to be amazing and the traffic to be crazy, but other than that, I had no idea what to expect. If you told me 2 weeks ago that I would ski some of the deepest powder all season down an orchard near the highest mountain in Iraq, and that I would accidentally ski right into a minefield on the way down from the highest mountain in Iraq, I would have laughed at you. But let's rewind a few days to start the story at the beginning. Christopher and I had just landed in Arbil. It was 4 in the morning. We had zero internet, zero phone service, and our driver wasn't showing up. Our friend Kit, who invited us on this trip, was already in Choman, our destination for the week. And he was also fast asleep since they recently decided to ski Halgurd, the highest mountain in Iraq, the next day. We found this out on our layover in Istanbul a few hours earlier and ditched our plans to stay in the city of Arbil for the first day to prioritize going on a skiing adventure on presumably no sleep. You'd think being stuck at an airport like this in a foreign country people are advised against traveling to due to safety concerns would be scary. The reality was far from it.
Og så her da. Stå for å vente på taxilege, altså.
Tror du kan ringe Kit og spørre om hjelp, eller?
Jeg sendte han melding, han tok den ikke. Nei. Perfekt. Her blir vi. Bare på 10 nye venner, da. Så.
Det er ikke dårlig stemning her, da. Det skal sies.
Det skal fises.
After an appropriate 2-hour wait for our driver at the airport, we stuffed our luggage into a tiny car with no seatbelts, driven by a man who didn't speak a word of English, smoking cigarettes and listening to Kurdish music on the radio as we made our way towards the mountains. We spent the night acclimatizing to Middle Eastern traffic norms and not sleeping, stopping at military checkpoints multiple times, our driver skidding into every tight corner on his worn summer tires in the freezing winter night. The early morning light giving us a glimpse of the mountains that would be our playground for the coming week.
Jeg sovet masse.
Our arrival in Choman in the early hours of the morning came with the delightful message that the trip had been postponed a few hours so we could treat ourselves to a few well-earned hours of sleep on some surprisingly comfortable blankets on the floor. We woke up to the sun in our faces and beautiful mountain views right out the window the next morning, the excitement and curiosity to discover this new landing culture completely overpowering our lack of sleep. After packing up the car for a skiing adventure, surrounded by exotic views, catching glimpses of armed Iranian border posts in the distance, we set off for Halgurd, the highest mountain in Iraq.
We drive up into the mountain. There's me, Christopher, Reband, our local guide. There's 2 Danish guys who are filming a documentary about these guys here. And Kit's been invited us on this trip and do dinner a couple of times before. You know, we drive up these mountain roads, really high up into the mountains, and you know, the road gets shittier and shittier. At some point, there's this white sign that's like bleached out.
Danger mine sign. Yeah, mine sign. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
You can see what's on it, and then everyone says, "This is fine. I was talking about. They should get it fixed." And we asked, "What's supposed to be on the sign?" And he says, "No, it's a warning about landmines." And Reband, our guide, is just as much a landmine guide as he's a ski guide. Like, we actually need him to tell us where the landmines are. So anyway, at this point, we're pretty late, and Christopher and I didn't have any internet when we got here, so we couldn't like help out with the planning of the trip. We don't have any map resources that are like detailed and good for the area, so we're relying on the other guys to plan the trip basically. One of the Danish guys, his luggage didn't arrive, and his trackers that he was borrowing were broken, so he spent like an hour trying to fix those before we got going from the parking lot.
We ended up taking Nicholas's skis on our backpacks, him boot packing behind us on our skin track. For some reason, it didn't occur to any of us that we were now 3 hours behind the original schedule. After a few hours of hiking, Christopher, Kit, and myself were quite a bit ahead of the rest of the guys. Coming further up the mountain and starting to grasp its size, Christopher and I realized we would have to speed up quite a bit if we were to reach the summit in daylight. Kit had already made this hike a few years ago and tagged along as our step-in guide. After we topped out on the first part of our ascent, we hiked around the side of the mountain, greeted by a seemingly 150 vertical meter couloir to the top. With a panorama view of just before sunset light northwestern Iran, we raced to the top. A race that seemed never to end. Turns out the couloir was 700 meters to the top in horrible bootpacking conditions. We reached the summit 15 minutes before sunset to one of the most beautiful views I've ever seen. I'm sure my lack of sleep and general exhaustion played its part in my experience, but getting this kind of view over the cradle of civilization at sunset is one of the heaviest experiences of my life. But it all seemed worth it. Our only worry now was getting back down before the light completely faded.
We turn around as quickly as we can, and we try to ski back down the couloir. We just missed the light, and the couloir is also east-facing, so it doesn't get any glow from the sunset, and it's just dark.
Å nei, det er flott vis! Åh! Ja. Ikke store, men bare være litt opptatt, kanskje. Det var dritbra. Fy faen, det er bra snø, da! What? Åh! Fy faen, det var der det var bra snø, var det jo helt kringlende. Hvis her så kjenner man
Irakisk Kurdistan.
Ja. Au, au, au. Å, fy faen, her var det dritt. Åh! Nei, det... Er det ikke her buddha der, da?
Og nå ble det veldig fort, veldig kaldt.
And the conditions are like very variable. Some turns are really good, some turns are really shit. But I was the only one who brought a headlamp. And my headlamp is like just for, I don't know, filling it around in the car. It's like not a strong headlamp. And the other guys were like lighting it up with their phones or making turns down this massive couloir from the highest mountain in Iraq. It was such a shit show.
Bedre snø her inne, Kit. Ja. Altså, det er vel kjip voksne, så er det så jævlig kjip voksne også.
Well, you know, we were extremely tired. Like, this is the first proper ski tour I think Kid did all year. Lange and I is like in slightly better shape, but still it's a massive hike. And we're not used to the thin air because we don't get that in Norway. So we were just absolutely exhausted. No light, just making our way down this couloir. And as you get back down to the bottom of the couloir, you can kind of see towards where the car is.
Jeg bare kjører nedover og gir det litt konturer der. Jeg skal bort til bilveien. Kanskje ikke vet hva vi skal.
And we came up this way, but there's another way that goes around here and down to a road filled with snow, and it's zigzagging down towards the car. And the way we came up, we had to boot pack over some rocks for a little bit. So I asked him, is that route down the ridge, like towards the road, is that via landmines? And he goes, yeah, I think so, because he's been here before. He was like, yeah, it's via landmines. So I go, oh, sweet, so we don't have to go the same way we did it. I went up, and we don't have to take our shoes off. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Okay, sweet. So we go down there, ski down a little bit. It's, you know, almost pitch dark at this point. We have our headlamps on. Snow is fairly good up in the top part, and then it gets shittier, and it's kind of thin because it's on a ridge. And there's a point I forgot to mention earlier, but as we walk, maybe 150 meters from the car. I don't remember if it was Kit or the guide, but one of the guys said, pointed at the sign, like this little triangular sign, and they said, that marks a landmine with a focus on the A. So I thought these signs marked one landmine, but apparently they marked that what's behind that sign is an area where there's a lot of landmines.
Ja, hvor det miner her nå? Kit? Det her et minefelt? For I så fall straight line det.
Yeah, good point. Oh my god. Jeg er helt utsluttet.
Da skriver vi ned her da.
So as we skied down this ridge towards the road where Kit said there was no landmines, I was kind of really over it, cold, tired. I was just trying to get back to the car. Ski down in these bushes and I suddenly see this landmine sign.
Å, der var det mine.
And Christopher's right behind me and I say, what's that? There's a landmine. And I ski a little bit further and I stop and I wait for them. And Christopher's like yelling at me.
Det var et mineskilt der, ja? Ja. Men det markerer en spesifikk mine, ikke sant? Nei. Markerer om det miner på andre siden.
Dude, you're in the minefield. You're in the minefield. Like, what? He's like, yeah, did you see the sign? And apparently there was like a bunch of signs, so I just skied right past it, right into the minefield. You know, while we were at the top for most of this trip, we didn't have any phone service, but Kit, he has an Iraqi SIM card. At this point, we did have phone service, so we called our guide, and he kind of seen our lights, and he knew where we were. So he told us, get the fuck out of there, like go down to the right, do not go back to that road. That whole area is just littered with landmines. We go, oh shit, fuck, I'm in the middle of this area. But luckily I'm on top of snow, so I just try to be as gentle as I can on my skis and poles, trying to get out of this area. Going off to the side where they say it's safe. And we had 5 people reach a safe spot.
Å, fy faen, der ble jeg nervøs.
Ja, du gjorde det, eller? Jeg skrek så jævlig etter deg også. Å, fy faen! Så du hvor mange skilt du har?
Nei.
Det var jo, du kjørte forbi ett, og så var det bare på venstre siden av det.
Å ja.
We can't ski back down where we came from. We have to like do a 200 vertical meter boost back down some sandy rock garden. In the middle of the night, we're so tired. I think Christopher and I were just like too tired. Nothing made sense anymore. We were just like joking about the landmines, even though we were in a super scary situation.
Skal vi si at vi ikke traff noen miner i dag, da, så skal vi ha GoProen?
Jeg tror det. Vi traff ikke noen miner i dag. Hvor mange miner traff du?
Grattis med at ingen av oss traff noen miner i dag, da.
Got back down. The other guys were waiting for us in the car. You know, they didn't have any extra food. They didn't have bring a jacket to wait in the cold. Even though it was warm in the daytime, like at night it was probably -10 or -15. Super cold. So they were just freezing their ass off. Everyone got home safe and we got back. It's probably one of the longest days of my life.
After yesterday's encounter with relics of conflicts past, Choman felt like a perfect place to wind down. It feels kind of surreal that this mellow mountain village lies in a country most of the world only associate with war. To our eyes, it seems like the very antithesis to a country at war. The reason for our trip here was an invite from Omar, the tourism director for Iraqi Kurdistan. He's putting on an event called the Kurdistan Ski Rally to promote skiing culture in the region. Unfortunately, the container containing a lot of the skis and equipment for the festival was held up in customs, so the festival was held back 1 week. We were unable to rebook our flights, so we ended up coming the week before the festival. Omar lives in Choman, with his wife Nasrim and their 2 daughters, right next to his cousins Reband and Mahdi, the former of which was also our skiing guide. We felt endlessly lucky that both Reband and Mahdi were avid musicians, giving us the complete cultural experience. I don't think I heard a single Western song our entire trip. Every night we'd gather the whole family and all of the visitors, including a few Danish volunteers for the skiing festival, and have a feast together. Afterwards there was tea. And before. Actually, what we came to learn during our stay is that if the clock is anything at all, it's tea time. They really do love their tea down here. We'd sit on the floor together, talk, stretch, and play music, and if there was time, go down to the local hookah cafe and play games every night.
Well done. Thank you. Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
This one's also school bus. It's like a me, but keep it.
Yeah. I can try that one. He's okay.
If you keep it for a long time.
For our second ski day of the trip, we've been recommended going to an area called Sakran, one of the best places in the area to ski. With easy access, lots of terrain to choose from, and even a lodge that saw a surprising amount of traffic from tourists. We were originally recommended checking out a big couloir close to the Iranian border on top of the mountain. The only caveat was an advice against continuing from the top of the couloir to the top of the mountain, as the Iranian border post on top might shoot at us if we showed up unannounced. We opted out of this option to instead ski something slightly further away from the border, based on presumed better snow quality and fear of getting shot. When we got back down from skiing, the locals were always eager to have a chat and try out our skiing equipment. But unfortunately, we didn't have much time for them as we had other plans. You see, ever since our first day here, there was a mountain that stood out as the crown jewel ski descent of the area, the Hazar. Towering at 3,200 meters above sea level, this massive 1,300 vertical meter northwest face sits in plain view from pretty much anywhere in Choman. The only catch? Our guide Reband didn't know where the landmines were in this particular area. On this day, though, our new landmine guide had agreed to meet us to give us some insight on the mountain.
It's definitely just gonna be one red.
Yeah.
Jeg skal sol I hele rundet, så kanskje last slide liksom 3:30.
After explaining our plans to the landmine guide, we showed him a photo of the face and had him draw out where the landmines were. As you can probably imagine, we were not delighted to find that the whole area was littered with landmines. Aside from the very top of the mountain, though, we would be able to stay out of their way, if we could find the right path, that is. We let our plans ready and braced ourselves for a few down days and possibly some storm skiing, before a possible weather window on our very last day. Have a good day. There's something very disarming about seeing adults playing in the snow like children. Middle Eastern culture is definitely more laid back than Western media portrays it. When the storm rolls in, Iraqis on vacation from the bigger cities flock to the mountains of Kurdistan to skid around in the snow on their 4x4s. As most of them would find out the hard way, though, fancy 4x4s are no good on snow with worn-out summer tires. The road going up to Sakran is littered with fancy cars stuck in the snow, their drivers laughing and goofing while helping each other out, others praying their cars out of the snow. Our driver seemed to be the only guy on the whole mountain with chains for his car. As a result, we had to help at least 24 other cars get out. I'd assumed the weather forecast in the cradle of civilization would be more accurate than on the west coast of Norway, but I couldn't be more wrong. Even though this precipitation event was forecast with almost zero wind, it came with a hurricane from the east. But those who seek shall find. Although the wind had ravaged most of the terrain around Sakran, a few orchards just below the tree line found shelter from the storm and provided us with one of the deepest pow days all year.
Yes.
Skal bare shoppe litt rails.
Yeah. Yes, man.
It's kind of astonishing, actually, the natural beauty of this place. Between the mountains and the friendly people, it's easy to forget that this is one of the most war-torn regions in modern history. But beneath that calm lies a long, complicated history. Coming here, I thought I was visiting Iraq, but it quickly became apparent this is Kurdistan. And Kurdistan isn't just a region in Iraq, it's a nation without a country, complete with its own language, culture, and identity. No one pushed this idea on us, it just surfaced naturally, in casual stories, in quiet frustrations. Things like Turkish surveillance drones overhead, tales of Kurdish travelers being pulled aside at Turkish airports suspected of being militants, armed border posts on distant ridgelines marking invisible lines, Iran on one side, Turkey on the other. The control of other nations are always present here, even when you can't see them. I'd been telling Reband all week that he should come to Norway so we could ski together. He'd been quietly nodding his head, going along with it, but on the second to last day he politely stopped me and told me that it's impossible for him to get a visa to Norway because of the weak Iraqi passport. It hit me how much I actually take freedom of movement for granted. This realization changed something for me. Not that this isn't a good place to live, but when so many people here are effectively trapped in this region, not by choice but by politics completely outside of their control, it just puts so much more complexity on the experience of coming here. And yet, despite all of that, the Kurds seem to live with remarkable grace. There's a resilience and warmth to the Kurdish people that's hard to explain. They live through occupation, neglect, and political limbo, yet there's no bitterness in how they greet you. Just generosity, laughter, and a strong sense of community. You don't get much personal space here, but I don't get the impression people feel very alone either. And honestly, I think I see more smiles here in a day than I would in a week back home.
No problem. Night shot.
Our last day was here, and conveniently, also the last weather window to ski the Hazar, the mountain we had a landmine debrief about a few days ago. The local we met up with was eager to join us and took the morning off work as a teacher so he could show us the way on the first leg of our trip. We drove up from Choman early in the morning, catching glimpses of our objective in the early morning light. As we got higher up towards the mountain, the view back down towards Choman, as stunning as anything we'd seen here. When the snow got too deep, we stopped to put on chains, then drove even further.
No problem.
I think this is it.
Yeah. Muhammad Ali.
After saying goodbye to our driver, we started the long approach, our guide gently skipping along on his snowshoes. Initially, our guide told us the trail between the landmines would be easy to find, but after realizing it was essentially impossible to find, we were very happy he decided to come with us last minute.
So, as you can see, this place is pretty littered with all the landmine signs. And we have our guide here to guide us through because he knows where all the mines are. Pretty interesting experience.
Spirits were high as we worked our way closer to the face, occasionally stopping to get information on the landmine situation and to take in the absurdity of it all.
From this balcony, left side all safe.
Okay.
But this side, the right side, there's have my mind. But I don't think so. You'll go there, right?
No, we won't go to the landmines.
So he said, look at here. There's a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Said 100% at the top. There's some 2-3 times than this one.
Okay.
So he said, don't worry.
So it shouldn't be a problem at the top.
Yes.
Men altså, det har jo gått et ganske reit brudd der oppe da.
Ja.
Og det ser ut som det fint kan være kantkorn.
Ja.
Kantkorn det. Jeg tror vi skal grave litt mer oppover her.
Ja.
Den minekanskje er liksom helt på toppen. For du ser den der store liksom pyramideforma tingen i midten der.
Ja.
Det er jo langt over det på en måte. We're just discussing the routes with regards to avalanche danger and with regards to landmine danger. We're slightly more scared about the snow stability now than we were a little bit earlier. I think we'll be careful. We'll try to keep our safety distance and make continuous evaluations of the snow. And I'd like to dig multiple pits also.
Just for snow, right? You cannot use it for wood.
No. Just for snow.
For da synes vi skikkelig jålete. Jeg tenker det slipper veldig lett. Det handler kanskje mer om klarer du å navigere, liksom. Fy faen, det er svær face.
1200 høydemeter.
Men her er det jo i en terrengfelle. Ja, det driter jeg. Jeg heter Brause. Flatt det. Talking about...
We got that local shepherd help us point out where the landmines are, where we can and can't go. And it turns out there's quite a bit of landmines here. So the shepherd, he was really kind. He came up here with us. Most of the face is safe, but the top part is just littered with landmines. So the only thing that makes it doable is that the snowpack is thick enough that we don't affect the landmines. And they say that nobody's been killed or injured by landmines here in the winter, which at first kind of made us feel better, but then we thought about it and we realized that not that many people go out in the snow in this area at all. So it might have something to do with the exposure and not safety.
Ja, der gikk den. Var det håndleddet, eller var det... Altså, sklei den ikke. Det er relativt bratt her også.
Det er bratt nok, ja.
Ja.
Ok. Jeg tror ikke det skal være noe problem, ass.
Nei.
Og det er jo kantkorn og sukker som faen da, men det er liksom ikke, det er ikke så potent kantkorn. What do you think, Reband? Do you wanna keep going or do you want to turn around?
As you like, it's up to you.
Okay. Both Christopher and I are pretty keen on just turning around. We're just at the edge of the minefield now, according to the drawing from the local dude. And I don't know. If the clouds go back also, like now it's good. We can ski down in good light now.
Yeah. It kind of looks shit all the way until we get to the minefield.
Yeah. Yeah, like the rest. I guess that's a good thing though, regarding the mines, because the snow will take our weight more.
Yeah.
But I don't want to ski that. So turn around here then. Okay, so decide to turn around here and not risk anything on the landmines. And also kind of regarding the clouds that are kind of showing up here and there.
Yeah! Oh! Yes. Vær så kake! Vær så god! Oh.